My friend Matthews and I love saying the word Nick. It sounds funny and it makes black people mad. We would go in public places and play a game where whoever says Nick the loudest is the winner. Oftentimes, we'd get chased by those black monkeys who overhear us. We'd outrun those losers, and though they're black anyway, we would also play the game in the middle of class when the teacher is out of the classroom. One day, on a Monday afternoon, in the middle of language arts class, our teacher, Mr. Aslicker, got a phone call to come down to the office. Matthews and I decided it was the perfect time to play the Nick game. This time, we changed up the rules a bit. We made a rule where the loser has to confess that he has a crush on our math teacher. Our math teacher is uncomfortably hot for someone who works in an education facility. At any rate, we both really didn't want to lose, so the game lasted very long. Eventually, we got so loud that our shouting was heard in the hallways. Mr. Aslicker came into the room and caught us in the act. You two are suspended from school for the week. Pack up and go home. We both had a sigh of relief. At least, neither of us had to lose and confess. We headed out of school. We still wanted to play the game since saying the word Nick is so fun. So, we decided to go to a quiet area to play. We chose to do it in the woods because that's where our voices would echo the most. Unfortunately, we live in the suburbs, so the nearest forest is quite a long drive away. I asked my parents if they could drop us off in the nearest woods, which is out of town. Thankfully, my parents are also Nick haters, so they happily agreed. They dropped us off in the northern forest. The trees were redwood, so it looked a bit scary. We ran as close to the middle of the woods as possible so that we could have a better experience. Once we were exhausted from running, we started the game. I initiated the battle. I shouted. Right after, we heard a voice. It didn't come from Matthews. It came from a distance, away from us. The voice played again. We could not recognize what it was saying. The voice was getting louder and louder as time passed. We were getting worried it was some kind of animal. So we decided it was time to leave, and I called my parents to pick us up. Once I put my phone in my pocket, we started to walk towards where we first entered the woods. Hey, what's with these pieces of paper stuck in the trees? Matthews asked me. I looked around. He was right. I also saw loose pages taped on the tree trunks. I closely examined one of them. There were written words on them. The one I was looking at read, "I can't breathe." in ragged letters. I didn't know what it meant, but it looked very creepy. Who the hell writes these in the middle of a forest? I just shrugged it off as a person on drugs writing these. I took a look at another page on the tree far in the distance. That page had a picture of someone laying down and someone else kneeling on their neck. "What the hell is that thing?" Matthews said. I turned around and saw something that still haunts me to this day. I saw an insanely tall and slender figure. It had proportions which I couldn't comprehend. It was wearing a black hoodie and blue jeans. Then I took a look at its face. It had a very, very wide nose. Its mouth opened, ripping open a hole between its large, thick lips.
"I am the Slender Floyd. How dare you say nigger in my territory? You must pay by giving me all your air,"
it said. I was in a state of utter shock. How was this even possible? I turned back and ran as fast as I could. 50 meters in, I realized Matthews wasn't running with me. I turned back to see where he was, but it was too late. I saw Slender Floyd grabbing Matthews by the neck and kissing him on the mouth, breathing in all the air inside his lungs. He then dropped Matthews on the ground, and Matthews looked completely drained and useless. Slender Floyd then looked at me and smiled.
"You're next."
I turned back and ran away from it. I saw the opening of the woods, which was where we entered the forest. I ran, and I ran like there was no tomorrow. And once I made it there, I looked up, and there it was. Slender Floyd teleported right in front of me.
"Now, I will breathe in all your air. You will pray for this,"
Slender Floyd said. It reached its arms towards me. I closed my eyes, prepared to die. But then, I heard a car driving nearby. I opened my eyes and looked where the sound was coming from. It was my parents' car, speeding towards our direction. The car then accelerated at full speed and ran over Slender Floyd.
"Oh shit! I can't breathe!"
Slender Floyd said. I saw beans pouring out of his neck. He seemed to be made out of stuffing. We then drove back home without ever looking back. That all happened years ago, and I haven't had direct contact with the Slender Floyd ever since. I am sad to say that Matthews was announced to be dead due to asphyxiation. I think George Floyd's ghost is out there in the form of Slender Floyd to get his air back. Whatever you do, if you find yourself in that forest, do not say nigger. even though it's fun to say. It's not worth dying for, or losing a friend.